Hey everybody, Manic Expression back again with another one of my Avengers reviews. This month, my girls and I, we went ahead and we watched Iron Man. If you're wondering where the nifty little slipcase is that came with this DVD, well, made it the lid of my Kleenex box. That's right, my ultra geeky homemade Kleenex box. This is the reason why back in the day I was such a hit with all the ladies. Stuff like that. Okay, anyway, Iron Man. Now, last month I talked about Captain America. And I told you while it wasn't a great movie, it was a very good movie. Iron Man, however, is not a good movie. Iron Man, I'm sorry, I know everybody loves it. Iron Man is not a good movie. Iron Man is a fucking great movie. Iron Man is not even in the realm of like comic book movies. No, I'm talking about Iron Man is on the list of, for my lifetime at least, I think the 100 greatest movies of all time, ever made in my lifetime. It's fantastic. Far beyond its comic book origins, it is just a great movie. I can't, this is going to be maybe a boring review because I can't think of anything to complain about in regards to Iron Man. This was the first independently financed movie that Marvel did. It's the first in the Avengers series. And they just hit a home run. First thing, coming up to bat, they knocked it out of the park. Everybody talks about Robert Downey Jr. And so I'll, talk about it for a second. Robert Downey Jr. is fantastic as Tony Stark. Just, if you talk about an actor who, maybe the only complaint really that anybody could have is maybe he's just playing Robert Downey Jr. But this is, I think, and I think Robert Downey Jr. is one of the great actors, really, of his generation. I'm going out on a limb here. Tony Stark is his best role. Hands down his best role. And I love Robert Downey Jr. in other movies. But I think Tony Stark is the role that allowed him to use just everything about what makes him great. He's got pathos, he's funny, he's he gets to do a little bit of action work in it. He just gets to do everything. He's a great romantic lead. He gets to do everything that makes Robert Downey Jr. great in one role. And for my money, that makes Iron Man easily the best movie that he's ever done. But he is by no means alone in being in a great cast. You've got Gwyneth Paltrow, who, this may be her best role too. I mean, I'm having a hard time thinking of anything better that she's ever done. She's really showing that she can be, that she can keep up with him. They have that great, like 1940s kind of rapport with each other where they're, the rapid fire dialogue, talking over each other. They're just, and what's great is too, they're romantic leads without really being romantic together. It's not a traditional superhero movie romance. It's something much more grown up, something much more believable. And actually, I would say believable is the word that defines why this movie is great. Unlike Captain America, and again, I don't want to trash Captain America. I liked Captain America. Unlike Captain America, though, I felt like everything in Captain America was filmed on a soundstage. You watch Captain America and you think, okay, there's a green screen. That's a set. It's really, I can't think of very many parts of the movie that looked like they were filmed on location. Iron Man looks like the whole thing takes place in the real world. It is absolutely believable. Whether he's in Afghanistan or Southern California, it looks like Afghanistan. It looks like Southern California. They're outside. There's the sky. It's, not all CGI. Obviously, a lot of the effects are CGI, but they're done so well that you don't even, it's hard to know at what point where the suit starts on him and where the rest of it is just computer effects. And it is, I mean, let's talk about the suit for a second. Let's talk about this suit. Captain America did a good job of taking we've all seen the 1990 Captain America movie. We know how ridiculous somebody can look dressed in the Captain America uniform. And it took that and it had to update it, had to change it, had to make it something that looked like it fit into the real world. Iron Man is a note perfect translation from the comic book. They didn't have to really change anything. It's just, here's what was in the comic. We've made it in real life, and it works. And they do the great service to the fans of showing the first three iterations of the Iron Man armor. The Mark I outfit, the silver Mark II, and then finally the golden red that everybody knows and loves. This is really a Valentine to the fans of Iron Man, and a Valentine to the fans of a character who was not an A-list character. I mean, everybody forgets that now. When this movie came out, Iron Man was not Spider-Man. Iron Man was not Batman. Iron Man was a B-list Marvel character who, in the comics was finally starting to get his due, but he was not a mainstream, well-known character to the rest of the world. And it's you got to give credit to Jon Favreau, who I never thought could pull this off. When I heard that they announced that Jon Favreau was doing it, I thought, guy from Swingers, he's perfect for this movie, directing this movie. He is the best possible director for this movie. He brought a sense of fun to this movie, and that's something that it came out the same summer as Dark Knight, and Dark Knight sort of eclipsed it. Everybody was talking about Iron Man, then Dark Knight came out, and suddenly nobody was talking about Iron Man anymore. And, Dark Knight is a masterpiece. Iron Man is too, in a different way. Iron Man is fun. You can say a lot of things about The Dark Knight. Dark Knight really wasn't fun. It wasn't a fun movie. It wasn't a movie that you went to and you came out and you went, that was a good time at the movies. You came out and you were kind of maybe a little bit bummed and disturbed after Dark Knight. With Iron Man, you came out and you were smiling. And you got to give credit to Favreau. You got to give credit to Downey. You got to give credit to Paltrow. Those three really took what could have been a really generic superhero movie. I mean, think about, at one point Tom Cruise was going to play Tony Stark. Imagine that if you dare. They took this movie that could have been generic and they just made it, like I said, one of the great, I mean, if I would say Iron Man is maybe in the top 20 for the last decade of great movies to come out. And, again, I mean, I'm trying to think of something to complain about. I can't. I sat there and watched it with my kids again, and even I forgot how good this movie was. Sitting there and watching it with my kids again the other night, I thought, I was looking for something. I was looking for something where I could go, all right, I'm going to have to hammer, this home. I'm going to have to take the movie down for this. I could not find anything worth complaining about. There was nothing. Maybe it sags a little bit in the middle, but even that, I mean, I can't really fault the movie for really taking the time from the action to develop the character, because that's what this movie is. It's not an action movie. It's a character study. And that's really unusual for a comic book movie, where, the Batman movies set the precedent in the 90s for sort of villain of the week. And all the, Spider-Man movies, everybody was like, what's going to be the next villain? Nobody gave a shit who the villain was in Iron Man. Tony Stark was the character we were watching. We only cared about Tony and his development, his growth, his adventure, and it didn't matter who the villain was.